Okay, what I have here is I have my ingredients here to make my steam sponge pudding. Quantities I have here will make 5 portions. I have 100 grams of butter, I have 100 grams of caster sugar, I have 2 eggs which are room temperature, I have 150 grams of soft flour, plain flour which has been sieved, I have 10 grams of baking powder and 2 dessert spoons of milk. I also have included there 25 grams of cocoa. So if I have 25 grams of cocoa, I would deduct 25 grams from my flour, which would make that 75 grams. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to cream my fat and my sugar till it's light and fluffy and almost white. I'm going to gradually add my beaten egg, mix vigorously after each addition, sieve my flour, cocoa if required, baking powder, and then lightly mix into the rest of the mixture. I'm going to add my milk and any flavouring and gently mix it to a dropping consistency. Then I'm going to place into a greased and floured pudding moulds, as you can see I have here. And I'm going to cover securely with greaseproof paper and tin foil, and then I'm going to steam them for approximately 45 minutes. Stage 1. So this is stage 1 here. I'm creaming my sugar and my butter so it's going to be light and fluffy, and that will help aerate my finished product. So stage 1 here. Okay, so we've beaten our egg now, and we've beaten our sugar here and our butter, and it's nice and light and fluffy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add in our eggs one by one, and we're going to beat them in well. Okay, so now we are at point 2 here. We have added our eggs and they've been beaten well after each addition. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to add our flour and cocoa powder if required, baking powder, and then we're going to mix it lightly into the rest of the mix. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my flour and my baking powder, and I'm going to sieve this into my bowl. That's to aerate it and make sure it's going to be nice and light, like so. Next thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to lightly incorporate all this, like so. So it just takes a second, and then I'm going to add my liquid, and then if I had any flavourings in there, maybe vanilla or some orange zest, I could add that in there as well. Bring it together like a dough, like so. And then I'm going to add my milk, like so. And we want it like so, and that is stage 4. Okay, so I have about a little over half filled my little Dario mould, which has been greased and floured. I'm now going to add my greaseproof paper. I'm then going to put my string around it. It can be difficult sometimes, so what we'll do is with it. So, tie a knot to secure, thank you, like that, and that will keep the steam out. And finally then we have a square of tin foil, and then we secure that around like so, and then we steam that then for 45 minutes. Okay. Just as an extra note, what I would normally do as well is I would put a crease in my greaseproof. That will allow for expansion for when my steam sponge pudding rises. So put a crease in your greaseproof paper and then put that over your mold. And then as it steams and rises, it will give room for expansion. Just a note. Okay, what we have here is we have our finished steam pudding, which has been cooking for 45 minutes. We're now going to see if it's cooked. So I take off my tin foil. You can see there that it has risen up. I have my crease there that will allow it to rise. Take off my string. Very carefully here, take off my steam pudding. You can see it has risen up because we had half filled it. I'm going to free the edges there just with our knife, as is required. Like so. And we turn it out. And there we have a beautiful steam sponge pudding flavoured with vanilla. Steam sponge pudding. And a citrus sauce to accompany.